Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen TV. It is the build-up show, Liverpool versus Southampton. Gentlemen, let's get stuck straight into it. Adam Rowe, hi.
Hiya, mate.
We're going to dedicate a portion of the show later on to plug in your show, of course, if you remind me to do that. But in the meantime,
don't stop filming. I've got something to say.
Everyone, can we just hold on a moment? Yes, Southampton. When we were looking at this run of fixtures, this fixture list of doom, this is the one where you look and go, okay, good, Southampton at home, sound. There is an innate fear that comes, I think, with that. It's not necessarily a particularly good attitude to have around a game of football, but we're still sat here in the warm afterglow of a Champions League win against Paris Saint-Germain. But this is what it is. It's all well and good having these records of 5 games unbeaten, 6 games unbeaten. If you then take your eyes off the ball and you throw it away against Southampton, then all you're going to do is make these big games come up against Chelsea, Man City, they're doubly hard.
It's a banana skin, isn't it? Yeah. It is. It's the one out of this run of 7 games where you go, well, we should win that one, but that makes it the most dangerous game. But I've just got so much faith in this current squad and Klopp that I don't see that happening. I don't expect a massive amount of changes in the team, and I think he'll focus more on this game than Chelsea in midweek.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so anyway.
Well, we're going to come to preferred 11s. We'll talk a little bit around that in a minute. But I think it goes without saying, the Southampton, there is something there in this game. It's a slightly tenuous connection, but my sister-in-law, her husband, their family are all rabid Southampton fans, and whenever we have like family gatherings or their engagement party, and I didn't realise the depth of ill feeling towards them. They used the expression "Liverpool raped our football club." Yes, yes.
Wow.
That is a bit like yes. This is his mum, by the way.
Okay.
His mum said, "You turn up and you rape," and I said, "It's not really rape, is it? It's more prostitution. You're getting paid for it." But Southampton don't like us, and they don't like now the players that we bought off them, etc., etc. So there's going to be there's always a bit of needle there, which I would hope might help give this game a little bit more life.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's a league game after such a high of a European night. There's always that banana skin kind of hangover, whatever you want to call it. We're kind of lucky in 2 ways. One, that it's Southampton, and there's going to be a lot of players in our squad. They're going to be well up for it after the rape or whatever, whatever you want to call it.
I don't think it is if it's consensual. But carry on.
There we go. No, the players will have a reaction. They will. It's the game that they're going to get up for, and so there will be point of proof. Also, the fact that it's Chelsea in the cup, it means that we can go to the well probably one more time with as close to a first choice as possible. So yeah, it's a game that it's one of those where you just need to wrap up, get your 3 points, and march on. And I think we'll be okay. I think this bunch of lads have a bit more to them now, and I expect a fairly comfortable win in the end.
Well, fingers crossed, mate. Matty Harding, Danny Ings. It's been so encouraging to see his start of the season. I don't think there's a Liverpool fan who doesn't love him and feels just so pleased and so proud of him, the way that he's picked himself up with 3 goals in 5 games. The good thing is, of course, is that they've become reliant on him, hopefully, in that time, and he's not allowed to play against us as we are his parent club. There's talk that it might mean Shane Long has to play up front for them, which, at the risk of what we call on this show Ian marshalling him, which is to say a player's crap only for them to come back and bite it in the arse, you take their top goal scorer out of the team, it does play into our hand.
Yeah, I mean, I'll, for your sakes, take the risk of saying Shane Long won't really have a sniff this weekend. If it bites anyone...
Lads, you're going to be a Mark Goldbridge meme this time next week.
No, I'll take it, just to take it off yous. But I mean, Southampton, I'm happy for Ings, given the situation that he's been sort of the ultimate professional at Liverpool. And to be honest, I'd completely forgotten about the parent club thing because of the nature of the loan deal. It's a compulsory purchase based on performance, so it's almost like you've sold them. So I'd forgotten about that, and I was almost looking forward for the reception or that thing. But now that you've said that, I mean, I wasn't probably to my detriment. I wasn't really paying much.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I did hand you the agenda with it written on about 15 minutes ago.
Well, I was struggling with the team selection more than anything. I was sat there.
Someone take the shovel off him.
Trina going, why can't he play?
The question is though, is he going to do the Sacco shitty dance?
What's that?
Remember when Zacco was on loan at Palace at the time?
Yeah.
I think it was Benteke that scored, and he was.
He did like he's on the touchline. Yeah.
I don't see.
I don't see that he's that.
Sacco had left in far more acrimonious circumstances, really, hadn't he? He'd been sort of like pushed out because of his weight thing and like arguing with Klopp. Whereas Danny Ings had sort of been like, lad, if you really want to go and play footy, you're probably going to have to go there.
Didn't we? Klopp wanted to keep him, but didn't want to stand in his way of his development. And I think it's been vindicated for Ings so far. You know, there's a lad. We bought him on the back of him being a 10-goal Premier League centre forward. Well, God, he's almost a third of the way to that total already. And look, yeah, we love Danny Ings, and hopefully he does get his career back on track. But moreover, and he's actually started to do this already this season, I just want him to do the Fabio Borini role from 13-14, where he was on loan at Sunderland, wasn't it? And he kept cropping up with like mad goals against teams that we wanted to see. So hopefully there's an Agent Ings thing going throughout the season. We're going to talk about again preferred 11s in a minute, but one person that we need to discuss, we've briefly mentioned him on every one of these shows, Adam. We got to see Fabinho play in a senior game for Liverpool. Granted, it was for about 2 minutes, and I'm not sure he touched the ball.
No, he gave a foul away on the halfway line.
For a foul away.
Like he's filling the Lucas role. Just push someone over and like, I'm here, I'm your new Brazilian defensive mid.
He's been waiting so long, and he comes out and come back.
So yeah, I mean, we now know that at least he is available for selection. He is in the manager's mind and thinking and what have you. I'm not sure you need a genuine DM for this game, but this is probably the closest he's come yet to being in consideration.
He'll start this game.
You think?
Yeah. Ooh. I'll be very, very, very surprised if he doesn't start this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think, obviously, we've said already it's a banana skin, but the fact that it's the only game in this month where, you could give him a debut and he could make a mistake and he's not going to be massively vilified by the fans. If he does that in a game against Napoli or Man City, then it could be like, oh, what have we done there?
So you're not thinking
Chelsea in the cup?
Yeah, exactly. Chelsea League
No,
Cup?
I don't. I think he'll play this one. I think, yeah.
Is that because you hadn't thought about the League Cup game?
No, it's not. I did consider that when.
That's fine. Sticking to your guns. Let's go.
Yeah, I think. I think Henderson will play the Chelsea game because I think although he will rotate a bit more for that Chelsea game, I think he'll want a steady midfield, and he won't. It still won't be a million miles away from what the league teams have been. I don't think he's going to go and play like 6 kids or anything like that.
I think we will rotate. I mean, the midfield's a thing that we rotate. to be fair, so it's likely. And even that, it's not like we've really rotated the midfield. We've had the midfield that we've played for most of the games, and periodically we've dropped Henderson in, for a couple of games. But I think given the work that Milner's put in recent weeks, Wijnaldum's put in, I think there is a strong case that you've got one eye on Chelsea and you go, get through this, because get your Premier League points on the board, and then the League Cup, que sera. If you win it, great. If you lose it, who's kind of secretly who's arsed. Yeah. But if it depends on what these guys have got in the tank, because there's no need to run Wijnaldum into the ground, and there's no need to run Milner in the ground, because you've got Keita there and you have got Fabinho there.
Yeah, there's certainly options in midfield, and it's weird. Like, I think everybody's almost at this intent where you're picking your preferred team, you pick your back 5, you pick your front 3, and then you juggle. You have a decision of who you play in midfield. We've got to that scenario. I just think that obviously it's willing to come back on the sports science, whatever, how much in the red zone any of the players are after tonight. But assuming everyone's okay and available, I think he will go as close to first choice for Southampton, then look to rest. It's a week then to Chelsea in the league. I think the Wednesday night game in the league is where he'll switch things up a bit.
Yeah, I must admit that. I mean, Matty, that's kind of in the back of my head, is that it's not a Champions League game. in midweek, and I think I do wonder whether, even if we only do what we did with the League Cup last year, that Leicester game, that was the time when we saw Robbo got a game, Oxlade-Chamberlain got a game, Ben Woodburn got a look in late on, etc., etc. We did a few different things for that one. Now, obviously, we will talk about the Chelsea game next week when we get to it, of course, without getting too far ahead of ourselves. But I do, for you're Jurgen Klopp, because it's Chelsea. Do you want to go? Do you want to treat it with more importance?
I think it's sort of preliminary mind games. It's like, well, there might be an aspect of whoever wins in the League Cup game. There might be that hangover in the league game, because you've got to look at it from being a player. If you're a player, you're not sitting on this couch talking about this, that, the other. Do you want to balance these games? They want to win every game. Yeah. And if you're a player, even if you're sitting on the bench and you bring in rotational players for the cup fixture, and your team loses on the bench, you're going to be seething. And that, to be honest, that might be motivational. Yeah. It might say, well, all right then, next weekend.
Yeah, we're talking weakened team, but our weakened team could be Sturridge, Shaqiri, Fabinho, Keita, Henderson, and we go, well, it's a free hit. Those lads go on, whoever we pick are going to go into that game thinking we're good enough to win.
Yeah, exactly.
To win that game of football. But I think it's more that at the minute we've seen minimal rotation. We're talking one really player, getting changed every week. It's been Henderson and Keita have been rotated. That's pretty much it. And Sturridge was kind of enforced because of Firmino's injury against PSG. It's whether we go again. Do you do that again for Chelsea? My sneaky suspicion is we won't, and I think we will probably go heavier on this. But yeah, we'll talk a bit more after the break anyway. We're going to do preferred 11s. Before we do, a little ad break here. We've got a brand new podcast. I say brand new, it's been running since the start of the season, the Liverpool Women's Podcast. So look, we've said this before, if you are into the women's game and you want some more coverage around it, we've got you covered. But if you fancy getting more insight into what's going on, it was something that I wasn't really totally clued up into. Laura and Amy, I've got you covered. So here's a little clip from that.
In that game in particular, Charles was probably the standout for me.
I was relying on the tweets, the updates, and every tweet had Charles's name in it. I was like, she's on it today.
No, yeah. Well, obviously, from the highlights that we could see, it was her just bombing down the field, whether it was in the middle, when it was on the wing, absolutely just taking players on for the fun. Yeah, and it obviously led to a goal for when she passed it out wide to Babajin, and she scored a worldie.
When I went to the Everton game, she came off the bench, came on at half time, and literally as soon as she got the ball, she was just running at the defence. She just kept running and running and running. She wasn't stopping, looking for the pass or anything. She was just wanting to create something, and she nearly scored within 5 minutes of coming on.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed with her against Arsenal. I felt maybe it probably had something to do with the fact that she'd just come back from being with the under-20s. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of fatigue was showing. But absolutely different person in the Durham game compared.
Yeah, something a bit different there. They're going to be doing more content. There's going to be some stuff coming to YouTube. Lauren sat on the camera at the moment going, what's he saying here? What's he saying about me? The girl's doing a fantastic job on that. So look, like I say, it's not necessarily something that's going to be people necessarily go, oh wow, yeah, it's going to get. We're accepting that people come to this predominantly for the men's team, but it is all Liverpool Football Club, and if you want to get more of an insight into the women's game, then perfect place to do it is on that podcast. So yeah, get involved with that on the redmentv.com. Yes. Actually, you know what? Before we do preferred 11s, Adam, because I have written it down and I will forget to do it otherwise. You're just off the back of a spectacular turn at Edinburgh. Look, I don't want to. I'll sit here and blow smoke up your arse, but we joked about this. How I think a lot of people's stories around Edinburgh come back of how they played in front of 5 or 6 people, or they get their mum and dad up to try and pad things out. Yeah, it's gone really well. Yeah, you got the man of the match award. You got joke of the tournament awards. Yeah, as well off the back of it. You've been everywhere.
Yeah, I won best joke of the festival, which at the time seemed like an amazing thing. It's just more hassle than it's worth.
Is it become Nirvana doing Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Oh, mate, it's so infuriating, that joke. I did an interview the other day on the Steve Wright Show on Radio 2, and they were like, tell us the joke. And I went, no, you've got it written down, you fucking read it. So the thing is, that joke got announced all over the country, and it was on every news channel, every radio show. We spent the whole day doing this big press run. And then for like the last week of my Edinburgh run, sold out on the back of that, which is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Meant to play to a full house every night for the last week. But I get to that joke every day, which is the reason everyone's there. It doesn't get a laugh anymore. People go, "Way!"
It's like showing a funny bit in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That was, I really laughed at that bit in the Deadpool trailer, but now I'm in the film.
Yeah, it was. So it's been a blessing because it's opened a few doors for me. There's got a little cash prize for it, which was good. And it definitely has been a little nice career boost, and it did boost tour sales and Edinburgh sales and stuff like that. But I get about one message a week at the minute from someone going, excuse me, I wrote that in 2014, so can I have an apology? And I'm like, well, if you wrote it, who am I apologising to?
Yeah.
And I found a screenshot. I found one from 2013, I think, where I'd put it on Facebook because I'd spoke to someone in the audience, and I found another one from 2009 the other day because I got 4 Facebook messages, a load of Instagram DMs, tweets and emails from one guy going, here's a screenshot of me writing something similar back then. So I didn't even think there was anything because 2009's before I even did comedy. And I just went, and you could tell I was like an immature child. I was like 17 and it was like, hey, if you work in that dole, do you have to go back tomorrow? I wrote it like that or something like that. So it's definitely opened doors, but it has that award is it's a Trojan
Do the
horse.
thing, do the one that makes everyone laugh.
Yeah. So I think I've got to do it in the show because people will be coming because of that now. But I don't want to. I would take that joke out if I could.
Yeah. That's the one where what you need to do is you bring that back as well. Eddie Izzard does this with like his Darth Vader in the canteen kind of stuff. He brings all the famous stuff back as like the encore shit.
Yeah.
And everyone goes like, "Oh, I remember this one. This is a good one."
Yeah.
Maybe that's you.
But I am being sort of a bit out of order with that. It was a lovely thing to get. And it normally does go to like a one-liner style comedian, and I'm not. I'm very sort of opinionated and storytelling, really. No. So it was nice. It was nice to get it, and it was the cherry on the top of a nice cake because the Edinburgh Festival had already been good. But we had full houses most days, really strong reviews and stuff. So it was nice, and now I'm going to take it on tour from October through November. But next week, the 27th and 28th of October, I'm doing the Epstein Theatre in town. Wow. And we're going to film both nights. And the 28th is the Friday. That's already sold out. The 27th still got some tickets, so go and get some. Yeah. Please. And come and... Because it's going to be an awkward DVD if it's not full. Just, yeah, that was good, lad. Yeah, do the joke. Do the joke. Do the joke.
I just came from the joke.
Sounds, yeah, listen, can't recommend Adam highly enough. And not just because I'm sat really close. I'm sat within striking distance.
And if anyone has seen that joke and thinks, if that's the best joke of the Fringe, it must have been a terrible Fringe. It's not even the best joke in the same minute that joke's in the show. It was picked as like a pun. You'll enjoy the show. Come and see it. And we're filming both nights to go on some online streaming service that I'm not allowed to mention.
Ooh, okay, cool. Brilliant, mysterious. Get involved. Go and see it for yourselves. Comedy is best experienced live and in the flesh. And look, I'm literally saying you just much better in the flesh. I think you had a bit of a tit on social media.
That is a very popular opinion, to be honest with you.
Joke thief. Now, go and see it. We'll put a link to everything, and of course Adam's Twitter in the video info underneath. So do get involved with that. Right, preferred 11 time. Matty, you had a real dilemma with this, didn't you, mate? Yeah. I sat here, I was literally watching the cogs turn in your head. You've gone for Nathaniel Klein in for this one?
Yeah, I mean, Trent has been imperious. He's been glory. I can't think of the amount of words to describe Trent the past season and a half, or however long it's been. But he's just been off Neymar, he's just been off Mbappe, he's just been off Cavani. I think he deserves a rest, especially leading up to 2 Chelseas and a Napoli. You know, there's no point in picking up a knock against Southampton or whatever it might be. You know, so I think that's probably the best. And then I've put Matip in because, again, Gomez, he's young, he might need a bit of time to sort of get his head, you know what I mean, just a bit of a chill. Yeah. And then leading up to the bigger fixtures, you know, he can really be on his A game. And then Dyke, Van Dijk, I should say.
I wasn't
about to
homophobic slurs.
That's the show that's ruined.
Wow. What a way to mark your debut.
You can leave that one in. And then, so Dijk, obviously, you know, I mean, you can put him in any team. It doesn't matter.
I love that you're doubling down on that.
I've got it.
Absolutely, it's a perfectly fine thing to say. If I don't say it, it's worse.
It's his name.
It's worse.
It's his name. Right, and then Robbo, because, well, he was putting Marino in, you know. It's not happening. Fabinho, and that was one of the bigger ones for me, because I thought, does he want to give Henderson more game time? You know, or does he want to ease Hendo back into it? You know, train hard, but don't be throwing him into the deep end with the matches before the big games. So I thought Fabinho, especially after the build-up with Fabinho, I think he's got to be ready by now, surely. And then Milner Wijnaldum, so I've stuck with that. And then I was troubled with Salah, whether to swap him with Shaqiri, because, you know, he had a poor 20 minutes or however long it was against Paris. And then I think Studgy, he's deserved.
Wonderful little bit of a little flourish of pronunciation.
Harry.
I can do others as well. Gingo, Montpellier. You know, just let us know.
Fantastic.
And then Studgy and then Mane. And I think we need a bit of rotation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. John, you and I have gone for exactly the same team here. We're going back to the team.
Yeah.
Which is the Gini, Milner, Keita midfield.
Yeah, I'm very much of the opinion that we need, this is 3 points. We play as close to first choice with a little bit of rotation in midfield, and then we rest in Chelsea midweek. There's enough time. So that's the same back five. It's Gini in the 6. I think we're going to have a lot more of the ball. I think he's better suited. He's a little bit quicker. He's a little bit more of an attacking 6. So I think it suit in, and Keita as well. Rested midweek last night, and I think it's a perfect game for him. Again, we're going to have more of the ball. He's going to be driving on. Millie is undroppable almost at this moment, and the front three picks itself. Yeah, so that's what I would go with. Okay,
brilliant. Adam, you've gone for just a couple of changes. Fabinho in for Hendo, Keita in for Gini.
Yeah, very similar to your team, I suppose. Back five doesn't change for me. I think it'd be absolutely mad to change that for this league game. Like, if you look at those 3 games we've got in a week, which is Southampton and 2 Chelsea's, if we're going to lose any of those games, I want to lose Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. I'd rather win the 2 league games.
Yeah,
we've got the best start to a league season since the Premier League began. You don't go and try and mess with that just to try and prepare for the League Cup, which shouldn't even exist, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, the FA Cup should be the cup competition.
All of this stuff about, you know, everyone's raging about, like, La Liga, they're going to be playing a game in America, and, you know, there's talk about this either an extra game or whatever. The League Cup is sat there. Give the League Cup to whichever country wants to pay the most money for it. You know what I mean?
That's a great idea.
Don't get me wrong, the League Cup is Liverpool's cup. You know what I mean? I've got I do like it. It was the first cup final I went to on my own as a teenager. You know, getting a coach and all that kind. The Worthington Cup final 2001. Yeah, got a coach on me. One of the Liverpool coaches on me Todd to go and see it. So I have an affection for that competition, but not if you're good enough to win the Champions League and the league.
No,
it can get in the bin.
Yeah. So I'm not messing with that back five at all for this game. I think if anything, Klein and maybe even Moreno and Matty come in for that midweek game, and then you give the lads a rest. Then you don't do it now for me. I as I said before, I'll be very surprised if Fabinho doesn't start this game. I think this is the game that he can come in, and we are going to see a lot more of the ball. We are going to control the game, so that's a time to put him in and go. Have the ball, get relaxed, chill out a bit. Keita was obviously rested against PSG, didn't even come on. That sort of picks itself.
Yeah.
As John was saying, Milner, you can't drop him, and I got told yesterday, by the way, you know, in pre-season when they do the bleep test, he did like 15 minutes longer than anyone else.
Yeah, he cleaned it out.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane. So the fitness thing, even though he's in his 30s, that's just not there. So I don't think he gets dropped again until midweek.
30s, he's still young.
Sorry, mate. And then the front three, Salah, Firmino and Mane. I think Firmino comes back in after an absolute worldie of a cameo against PSG. I think that picks itself. And then, obviously, looking ahead to the midweek game, I think that's when Sturridge, Shaqiri, I think Wijnaldum and Henderson come back in then.
My thinking on this, maybe with the Fabinho situation, is I think Klopp wants to beat Chelsea in midweek. I think he does, and what I've wanted to see Liverpool do for yonks, and this goes back to 2004, 2005, where we just had a League Cup team. Now, I mean, it's funny because I've done the Anfield lap interviews with Mellon and with Warnock, and they were both a bit annoyed how that, you know, the team gets to the final and gets binned off for the first team. But I like the notion of us doing that because that's a test of your squad depth, and we need to keep people fit and fresh. My thing for this is Matip's had a few minutes. Fabinho's probably not enough. I wouldn't start Fabinho at the weekend, but I would have him on. I would be bringing him on. I'd look to get this game won. And then 20 minutes, get Fabinho on for 20 minutes or 25 minutes or 50, whatever you feel you can get him in and not totally impact negatively what you're doing.
So Chelsea isn't a big thing.
Exactly. So you're not going, here you go, here's a full 90 based on having not really kicked the ball in anger for us prior to that. And I think that might go for one or two lads again. Shaqiri, I'd be looking to get him 15, 20 minutes in this game just so he's up and running. So again, he's not going in totally cold into that game. But I agree, I tend to agree with what you're saying, Jonathan, is that this is so important. You don't want to take this lightly, and I don't want to run the risk of undoing what we've done so far, because this is one, make this a shoe-in, get this game won, get this game sound, bring everyone off you want to bring off, and give Salah and Firmino whatever half an hour off from this game plus the midweek off, and then they've got a week then to prepare for the game that really matters against Chelsea, which will be you want that to be a top of the table clash, don't you?
I'd just like to say I don't expect Fabinho to finish this game.
Okay.
I think he starts and he comes off at the hour mark, 63 minutes, whenever Klopp's normally. Yeah. And I also think Salah will go off as well for Shaqiri at some point, and I think maybe Mane, who hasn't really had a rest yet, I think maybe in for Sturridge late on as well. I think they'll be the three subs in this game ahead of having them as an option for midweek. Okay. But I do stand by. I think Fabinho will start this game.
I think it just depends which way round you want to deal with the rotation. Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, I've gone for a relatively significant change there. I've got 4 changes. But I think what you were saying in regards to, will you just want to sub these off? I'm sort of doing the same thing, but the other way around. You know, I want the legs to be rested on certain players and to be gotten on others in preparation for both Chelsea.
Look, we said about the PSG stuff is that, you know,
I just don't think this is the game.
I don't think this is the game to do it when there is the option.
To be testing people's legs out. I think Fabinho, that's why I don't think he finishes the game. I don't think he's got 90 in him. I actually think Fabinho might start both of these coming games. Mm-hmm. I think he might play 60, and then maybe he will do the 90 midweek in a midfield along with Henderson and Wijnaldum, and Henderson will play one of the 8s.
It's a very fine balance, because if we believe in the squad depth, we should be able to make a few changes and still win this game against Southampton. But I just think I think we've looked at these early blocks of fixtures, and I don't see that you make sweeping changes for this when you've had opportunities to do that in the early games. It's still only the 7th game of the season. We're still very early on into this. You want your best team to be as good as they can possibly be first, and then you're starting to factor in the guys around it. It feels to me, and we'll know in a few days' time.
Think about the great Premier League teams, United and City and Chelsea, who've gone and won the league with 5 games to go. Yeah. There's absolutely no way they're rotating for this game. Yeah. They're rotating on Tuesday.
I think it's a gamble. I think there's too many of those lads who at the minute you're not bringing Shaqiri in for Salah in this game. I don't think, because there's just no guarantee of what you're getting from him. No, look, this is to say Salah might not score, but he's on the balance of probabilities. He's probably going to score.
And even if he doesn't score, he draws 2 or 3 men.
Exactly. You know? You're putting your best foot forward.
And I don't think you can underestimate how important 3 points is. Exactly. Yeah.
And like I said, I think I said at the top, you've got Chelsea. You know, that could be, both teams could be unbeaten going into next weekend, and that's an opportunity for you to put. You could go into the end of next week. You beat Chelsea next weekend. You're clear top of the Premier League already. You don't want to have. You need as much of a buffer between for the Chelsea game and the Man City game as you can possibly give you. So you can't, for me anyway, you can't take your eyes off the prize on the Southampton game at all. Let's have a quick look at how our rivals are playing this weekend. And so Saturday games: Cardiff, Man City, Man United, Wolves, Brighton, Spurs, and then Sunday, West Ham, Chelsea, and then Arsenal, Everton. Those Arsenal, Everton games are always bonkers.
Mental, yeah.
So I don't quite know how that's going to go. It wouldn't shock me to see Everton get something against Arsenal there. And equally, if West Ham hadn't gotten something against Everton, which in some respects actually was the most predictable result for West Ham to finally get their first win against the Ev, first win of the season against the Ev, wouldn't surprise me. I don't think Chelsea will drop points. I don't see any of our rivals really dropping points this weekend.
Wolves will have a right good go at United. They're flying. They're playing really good football now as well.
Yeah.
It's still a big ask, but out of the rivals, I think Wolves is the only one to do us a favour there.
I think Brighton will beat Spurs.
Wow,
Jesus,
that will be Spurs firmly in crisis.
Heads will blow.
Before, won't it? They lost last night.
Of course, they lost. Of course, yeah. Jesus wept. That'd be all over.
That could be a real catalyst.
I think Brighton win that game. At Brighton. Brighton are good at home. And I know that sounds odd because we went and absolutely danced all over them last season, but no one else did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brighton are a good team at home, and I think they'll beat Spurs maybe 1-0, 2-0.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think they'll do all right there. And I think Wolves will have a good game against United. I still think they'll lose it. City beat Cardiff. Chelsea, West Ham.
For me, that's the most interesting game.
Given
the dynamic of what West Ham just did to Everton, and there's been this, part of the audience in West Ham have been questioning, what's the name of them? Pellegrini, that's the one. And saying, is he really all that? And then obviously the money they've spent and the owners. And after that result, I mean, that to them was massive. You've got to think of how big that result was off the back of what they've just gone through. And that's going to be a huge shift, in the mentality. And if they go into the Chelsea game and it's a home, given it's not really home because it's a shite ground essentially, I genuinely think we could see a real bonus from that match leading into our game.
There's a question. The question is because you look at how well Arsenal played against Chelsea, and Arsenal could have been out of sight at times in that when they went up against them. And I don't think Arsenal are any great shakes this season. West Ham could do a thing like that. It's just whether Chelsea have just settled down a bit now under Sarri, and Hazard's now clicking into form again, etc., etc. They were sparing in their use of him as in the start of the season. So I don't know. It wouldn't shock me to see that be one of those mad results of the weekend where West Ham come out on top. But yeah, I keep going into these. I don't really see it at the minute. I'm not really seeing Arsenal as a true rival for us, so that they might well drop points, but I think that's kind of inconsequential to us, to be honest. Only in so much as it'll just prompt the usual weekend of having one fan channel to laugh at.
I feel the same about Tottenham as well this season, to be honest with you. I think Tottenham, they didn't sign a player this summer, and they really needed to. And I know the stadium is what has sort of restricted their funds. I think Spurs and Arsenal are 5th and 6th this year. Okay. In whatever order. And I think United will be 4th, and I think the top 3. I think our 2 biggest rivals are Chelsea and City.
Yeah, I think one of these, looking at the fixtures, it would be one of those, it would be a mega bonus if one of our top 4 rivals drops points this weekend, and that's why it's another game where we just need to go out there, grind it out, get whatever win it is against Southampton, and then move forward from there. Let's have some score predictions before we wrap up then, Matty. What are you going for?
I'll go for 3-0.
Sound, John?
Yeah, 3-0.
6-1.
Go ahead.
6-1, genuinely.
Okay.
Meme this next week, 6-1.
Sound, okay, all is on that.
Out there.
Yeah, I'd say I'm happy for a nice 2 or 3-0. Definitely goals in either half. Don't extend too much energy. 3-0 by 60 minutes. Bring everyone who needs a rest off, and then chill and relax and get ready for the week. I can live with that. Let us know your preferred 11s in the comments below. Score predictions. Don't forget to go and check out Adam. Go and get tickets and go and see him live and in the flesh. He is boss, really, and yeah, of course, if you want to go get more content in and around every single Liverpool game, go over to the redmentv.com, sign up. You've got the Final Word show, you've got Man of the Match podcast, Reds News Roundup, the Liverpool Women's podcast, as discussed, and a whole host of interviews with Liverpool stars past and present on there, including the Jurgen Klopp interview that I've been milking to death for the last 2 months. Other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you all soon.